listening to iCannabisRadio.com.
All right, welcome to In the Lab with Jennifer. And it's just me. It's kind of lonely here without a co-host. I've had two so far this year, and probably will be looking for a new one in 2014. So if you live in Colorado and you're interested, give me a call. Anyway, today we're going to have Alan Brockstein on again from who does, he's a stock analyst. We had him on a couple of weeks ago, but it was more about Grow Life, talking about their particular stock. So what I really wanted to do is talk to Alan and get some advice on looking for a good stock to invest in. There are people all over that are so excited about the cannabis movement and want to get involved, but maybe they don't live in a legal state. So, stocks are an opportunity to be involved and to see what's going on in the industry. And there are, I think, about six stocks right now, maybe 7, 8. I'm not really sure. Alan can talk to us about that. But first, I wanted to say thank you to all my wonderful sponsors. Without you guys, In the Lab with Jennifer would not be possible. I'll start with The Farm. The Farm is one of, if not the best dispensary in Boulder. It's amazing. She has special hummingbird products that she makes with her CO2 oil. She also has a full selection of retail, and her store called Grassroots on Arapahoe actually has a huge variety of edibles. I think she has probably one of the best sections of edibles that I've ever seen. So you should check them out. And then also Canna Punch. Canna Punch is the best drink. It's not carbonated. You get several servings in a bottle, and all I know is snowboarding. It's wonderful. You put it in your little Buddha bag, and you just need a couple of sips, but it's absolutely fabulous. And Canna Punch, I believe, is in Colorado, Arizona, and Washington. And if it's not yet, it will be, because I know that he's working on those states. I'd also like to thank Extraction Tech. Extraction Tech is a new sponsor for In the Lab with Jennifer, and they make hydrocarbon extraction machines. They have a ton of experience in all kind of extractions, but they chose to build a hydrocarbon, so it does butane or propane, and they can help you get the most out of your cannabis and make amazing extracts. And you can go to extractiontech.com. It's extractiontek.com. And of course, you can always reach a sponsor through me if you don't hear about them. I'd also like to thank Ideal Soil 420, or our Ideal 420 Soil, formerly Blue Sage Microbes. It's an amazing advanced nutrient system, and you can see those at ideal420soil.com. And who am I forgetting? I think that's about it right now. Oh, no, Ivita Wellness. They have, I believe, 2 stores open now, more stores on the way. They will definitely have a recreational store or adult use store. So look for them in 2012 or 2014. I'm behind a few years. Also, I'd like again to mention the party that's going to be on January 1st from about noon to 6 p.m. at City Hall. I will talk more about the party and how you can get involved. But if you have any questions on that, you can always email Genifer, Genifer, at canlabs.com. I'd also like to mention the big story today, and that is Connecticut University to test pot for contaminants. So it's a big story. It actually features a marijuana plant that is magnetized 10 times. And you can see it is crazy. The leaf is covered with mold and you can see it perfectly with 10x magnification. It's unbelievable. And you can get this at oh, wow, that's so bad. I think if you type in Connecticut test contaminants, it'll come up from New Haven. And it's talking about how they're coming up with some proprietary methods. Not sure if they're proprietary because it looks like they'd like to help testing labs across the country be able to test for contaminants in a quicker, less expensive manner, which would be fantastic. And it involves some DNA profiling and analysis. Anyway, it doesn't go into too many details, but we're very, very excited about it. It also talks about the workshop, which is a testing lab in California. They did a paper that I have talked about previous, and Jeff was on my show about inhaling pesticides. So talks a little bit with Jeff, and just a great article to check out. Again, just go ahead and Google Connecticut test for pot for contaminants, and it should come up. Anyway, we are going to get on with Alan, and we're going to give him a call right now.
Hey, Jennifer.
Hi, Alan. You're live on the air. How you doing?
I'm doing great. You doing all right? Have a nice Thanksgiving?
I did. You know what? I didn't even talk about my Thanksgiving, but yes, I actually went to Arizona to visit my dad and stepmom in Scottsdale, and we were invited to their friends and had a lovely, lovely meal. How about you?
I went to beautiful Austin, Texas.
Ooh, I've never been to Austin. I heard it's quite a place to go.
Well, I had my own little 420 tour. Unfortunately, I can't go into detail. It was,
clearly, since it's not 420.
It was in my son's dormitory. So.
Oh, really?
He had some good stories to tell, so it was fun.
Very cool. Well, that's nice. So are you from Texas, or did you just send your son to school there?
No, both.
Both?
I am from Houston.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, UT, man. That's quite the school.
Yeah, that was one of my interesting things. And then I actually found out that a friend of mine from almost 25 years ago is one of the largest growers on the East Coast now. You
are kidding me.
Small world.
See? So. I'm telling you, it is a small world. I remember when I first... we just call it coming out of the closet with cannabis. I just remember some people. I knew that nobody would ever, if somebody doesn't like you because of that, then, I guess you don't need to be their friend. But I did not expect the reactions that I got. And every single one of them was super positive. I can't think of one person that was negative. Only people just had questions. That's it. So pretty awesome.
Well, I'm going to be on my best behavior. I saw your rant last Monday. I don't want to be ever on the other end of one of your rants.
Oh, my God. I was so disappointed.
That was a good rant.
Oh, well, I try not to just because, you don't want to get everybody else in a bad mood, but I had enough. So,
I hear you.
It's just disappointing. We need to take accountability for our actions in this country. And I think if we did more of that, we'd have less problems.
Well, I think you and I are on the same page. Let's get rid of the bad players, basically.
That's exactly right. So what I want to do now, Alan, since, that last call, pretty much went higher than my level, let's just say that, I'd like to back up and talk about how do you start, for those people that are excited about marijuana and maybe want to, invest, What's the 101 on finding a good stock, and how do you know if it's a true stock or not, or what is a pump and dump? Like, I'm hearing all kinds of these words, and I just want to get to the bottom of this stuff.
Sure, and we can go real basic today, and it's unfortunate because a lot of people are trying to make money right now in the industry, obviously, and if you live in Colorado or you live in Washington, those are probably two of the states where it's easiest to actually go work in the industry, right? And if you live somewhere else and you're excited, it's really, much more difficult. And if you're like me in Texas, there is no marijuana industry at all in Texas. And so I think a lot of people view investing in stocks as a way to, take advantage. Well, I've done some surveys on some calls that I've done, and there's probably two groups of people. There's a group of people, probably more like myself, who just are like, wow, this is such a huge opportunity. Let's get in front of it. And then there's another set of people that are like, wow, I can't believe in my lifetime this kind of change is happening. I want to be involved.
Right.
So those people aren't necessarily skilled investors. So you kind of have both those, the skilled investors who recognize that there's a lot changing, and then you have the people that are unskilled investors but want to participate. And it's that latter that unfortunately are really getting taken advantage of. And we can talk more about the specifics there, but it's unfortunate because unfortunately there are not a lot of good opportunities to invest. I would characterize what's going on right now as a lot of fake companies, a lot of...
What does that mean, fake company?
Well, so FINRA, which is a self-regulatory organization that oversees the financial industry, they put out a warning in August, mid-August, talking about marijuana scams. And this follows, I think I mentioned this last time, it kind of follows going back to 2001 when I think was the first one about anthrax cure scams. And so, unfortunately, this goes back probably hundreds and hundreds of years ago that a fool and his money are soon parted. A fool and his wallet are soon parted, and so there's always people trying to figure out how to take money from people. And so a popular thing is to glom on to a big theme, which right now would be marijuana, and then try to get people to invest. And we can talk about a lot of these tricks that are done. But FINRA warned about this. I thought it was a little bit late. Their warning came pretty much at the low of the market, but a lot of people got burned, Jennifer, this year, and a lot of companies that are in the space right now they're not legitimate businesses. They are. If you were to step back and say, what is this company actually doing? They're just trying to make money for themselves and not through any normal commercial business.
So normally, and again, I'm certainly not an expert. In fact, I don't have very much knowledge around this subject. But so the reason a company goes public is what? What are the reasons a true company, a valid company, goes public? Why wouldn't they stay private? Yeah,
well, so there's a lot of reasons. A big one would be access to capital. Let's say you have an idea and it's going to take a lot of money, and you're not going to be able to necessarily borrow it from the bank, or you don't want to be in debt. So that would be one way traditionally to go public.
Okay.
Another one would be, I hear this a lot of companies don't need to go public, but we're not talking about marijuana companies now, by the way. We're just talking about companies in general. But they might go public because for two other reasons. One, well, I'll give you three. One would be branding. If you're a public company, it's like free advertising sometimes.
Got it.
That would be one. And another one would be to help. Let's say you want your company to live forever, and if one person owns all the stock and the person dies, or the key employees can't get the stock, it creates liquidity. It creates the ability, for people to transfer their ownership, and kind of makes for a smoother future. There was one other one that I hear sometimes about why go public. A lot of times it's not for the money. It's for other reasons, like the two I just mentioned. Okay.
And marijuana cannot be on the NASDAQ because it's federally traded or federally regulated?
No rule that that these companies can't be on the NASDAQ. There is one company that is really a cannabis company, and it is on the NASDAQ. So that's not really the issue. The issue comes with the level of reporting and things that go into it. But I mean, some of these companies are talking about moving to the NASDAQ, but you have to have the right financials to do that, and reporting structures.
Okay.
So a lot of these companies, you can divide the whole space into three groups. One would be GW Pharma, which is a UK company that has a NASDAQ listing. So that's in a league of its own right now.
Okay.
Then you have, at the other extreme, pink sheet companies, and we can name the tickers later if you want, but these are companies that are not fully reporting to the SEC.
And why wouldn't they choose to be on the NASDAQ?
Well, we're not even talking about the NASDAQ right now. We're talking about
pink sheets.
Just to be reporting. The pink sheet guys are at the other extreme. In the middle, you have several companies, like you had Grow Life on the other day, that are fully reporting to the SEC, but they're called over-the-counter. They don't trade on the NASDAQ, and there's a lot that would have to happen for these companies to be able to move up.
Okay, so...
But it could happen over time. It's not really that important.
Okay, and let's talk about a pink sheet.
Yep.
What is that? What is that? I mean...
So most people, when they invest in stocks, they think of listed stocks and penny stocks. And my background is in listed stocks. I mean, I've been doing something to help out people for like 5 years. I forgot what it even is, but every now and then I'll get a random question from a stranger from this website asking me about penny stocks. And I always said, I don't do penny stocks. I don't do penny stocks. Well, if you want to do marijuana stocks, you do penny stocks. So
right.
What's that?
I said right.
Right. So I started learning a lot, and I still have a lot more to learn, to be quite frank. I will never put myself out as a penny stock expert at all because I'm trying to learn. It's a big minefield. But the listed stocks, that's the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ primarily, and it's just a higher degree of the rules to be listed are strong, and then the penny stocks are broken down into OTC, and there's a couple different levels of OTC, and then the pink. And then even within pink, you have some companies that aren't even current, that they're not filing on time. And,
so don't they get in trouble for that or fined or something?
You don't. No, there's no fine.
What's the point?
So you would think that investors would run like heck, and I guess they usually do. But I would say, if you're looking at a company that's pink and not OTC, that's a big red flag, quite frankly. And so if you really like the company, you need to be aware of this, and you need to understand if there's a path. You need to understand why it's not filing and what it needs to do. Because in the long run, that company probably won't succeed if it's not, if it can't move off the pinks, at least into SEC filing. And SEC filing is no sure protection against the loss of capital, that's for sure. So that's not to say. So
then who's protecting the consumer with the pink sheets? Nobody.
FINRA, supposedly. I don't know. I mean, honest to God, every time I've contacted the SEC about something I see funny in these penny stocks, I don't even get a response back. It's really
That's terrible.
Sad. So I would warn investors, if you think somebody's looking out for you, nobody's got your back.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to do that for people that are investing in the sector, but in general, in penny stocks, nobody has your back.
Okay, well, that's good to know because I'm sure that everybody thinks the SEC is taking care of people when it comes to this, and they're not. Okay, we need to take our first break, Alan, so please just hold on, okay?
And I'll be quiet this time.
No worries, thanks.
Ideal 420 soil is preloaded to perfection with all your nutrient, microbial, and biostimulant needs. It's compatible with all strains and is good for a 22-week grow cycle from seed to harvest. This product is 100% organic and gives your marijuana that awesome aroma and smooth taste we all desire. Ideal 420 Technologies is well grounded in soil chemistry, soil physics, and microbial biology, making them the most advanced soil company in the marijuana industry. They do the science so growers can focus on what truly matters, the plants themselves. No more mixing and feeding of expensive nutrient lines, supplements, and foliar sprays. Not to mention, the company is prideful in being the most consistent soil product that has yet to hit the market. Due to the results when using Ideal 420 soil, they are quickly changing the standard for cannabis cultivation. To order the product, go to ideal420soil.com. Use promo code INTHELAB for an additional 20% off.
Call Canisher at 1-800-420-5757 for all your insurance needs. Canisher understands the risks you face each day, and we are there to protect your business and your investment. Since 2010, Canisher has been serving the cannabis industry nationwide. Call Canisher at 1-800-420-5757 or visit us on the web at canisher.com to learn more about our insurance and risk management services. Proud member of the NCIA.
I'm Gary Johnson, and you're listening to iCannabis Radio, and I want to say, talk it up, Colorado.
All right. Are you still there, Alan?
I am.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so talking about regulation, and people think the SEC is looking out for them. So let's talk about a pink sheet. So
Sure.
Let's say Can Labs wanted to be a pink sheet. What is the difference then the NASDAQ or, like you said, fully reporting? I mean, do you go through the same steps to have your company do a pink sheet?
It's a little out of my domain of expertise.
Okay.
There are you can go to otcmarkets.com and you can look at the different listing requirements. Generally, what happens, and there's been a lot of this, Jennifer, in the last few months, is a company will buy another company's listing, basically. It's called a shell, and you do a reverse merger. That's typically what happens. And I would think anybody that wants to do that would prefer to buy a company that's current with the OTC. You don't want to start off in the hole like that, I would imagine. But there's companies that slip. We're not going to get negative here, are we? But I don't want to name names. But there is a company that makes a vending machine, and they were current, but they haven't filed with the SEC. They used to file with the SEC, and then they haven't filed since March, and they actually didn't even file that till September.
They haven't filed since March?
That's correct.
You're fine with mentioning the company.
Well, it's ABT Inc. So,
ABT Inc. Okay, let me.
But I'm just trying to use an example of this is a company that was compliant. They were OTC. They were SEC filer, but then when they failed to file, they slipped back the other way. So I think a lot of these pinks can start off being compliant, filing with the SEC, and then something happens and they fall. So when Can Labs goes public through reverse merger, it's not going to be a pink, I don't think.
Okay.
And when's that happening, by the way?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
When is Can Labs going public via reverse merger?
We are happy as a clam as a private company, let me just tell you. And here's what I've heard, okay? My business partner built and sold his last company in 3 years. And they sold it to a publicly traded company. And he had to stay on for an employment contract that he did. And he said it was another company when it became public. And he said that instead of focusing on products or service, your focus goes on reporting and pleasing investors.
Pleasing the shareholders, that's for sure.
And I can tell you something, that if my time was spent managing spreadsheets and not on patient medicine, I would lose. I wouldn't even want to come to work. So we have great plans to expand and everything, but we love what we do. We love the science. There's new science and new things, new information arriving every day. And the last thing I want to do is lose focus of the patients and the consumers and onto my Excel program.
Sure.
No thanks.
I think since we last spoke, the one thing that came about was that Steep Hill is apparently thinking about going public.
I heard that actually. I did hear that, and good for them. Like I'm happy for them. They're
a legitimate company. I know that.
They are.
I sure hope to have more legitimate companies, because this is. Some people said I was a little bit early starting what I'm doing, and that may be the case. But
better early and helping people than late, and maybe you couldn't help those people. I mean, this is a big problem. And unfortunately, a lot of people call me on things because we do testing for Dixie elixirs. They're our client, and people are calling me about the stock, and I don't know. If you have questions, you can call Dixie, and they'll be happy to answer your questions. But it's very hard to manage people when they think that Can Labs automatically is grouped into that, and it's not. Again, Can Labs is private, and we are staying private for now, for sure. But if Steep Hill went public, good for them. Steep Hill is a laboratory out of Oakland, California, and actually, I believe some of it's funded by Steve D'Angelo.
I think that's right.
Who owns Harborside. So, and I just saw an article that Harborside is hoping to get a Massachusetts license.
Right. This is going to be interesting over the next few years to see, because this is all state by state. Everything, there's no federal. And
and
even on the lab testing, you've told me that the rules in Colorado are different from the rules in Washington, and
they're totally different. And that's why it's going to be great with Can Labs, because we can build custom software and workflow for every state. So that's going to be very, very important, because the rules are very, very different. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, so that's why we're not going public. And I could see how, and I get email inquiries all the time to Can Labs asking, hey, can we invest in your company? And for that, I'm like sad, because I would love for that, people to get involved with it. And the science is one of the most exciting things about cannabis right now. And I talk about it all the time. So people want to get involved in science. So at least, they'll be able to invest if Steep Hill does become public. I'm curious, would that be on their own, or would that be, maybe a reverse merger kind of thing?
I'm assuming reverse merger, but I'm not privy to those details.
I am too. I'm wondering, do you have an idea of which company?
No, I haven't seen any filings on it yet. But,
okay. And the other one you were talking about...
That's why I was kind of surprised, because they said 3 months, and usually it starts to leak out. People find the filings. There's like, even... you had Sterling and Rob on last time, and Rob's not involved with this, but Sterling, Scott is involved, not nominally anyway, with a company that's in the middle of a reverse merger, and the ultimate company is going to be called Vape Holdings. And, it's just funny to see everybody. There's no information, very, very little information out there, and the stock has just gone crazy. It's not a lot of shares, but...
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation, obviously, in penny stocks, and so. But I haven't seen anything on Steep Hill. You would think that would start to leak out. Okay, so let's talk about the ticker MDBX. Is that the one you were talking about before? So Medbox that's who makes the vending machines that I was talking about. AVT. I'm sorry, Medbox it's their vending machine that AVT makes. That was the reference.
But you're talking about, the reference earlier. So let's talk about Medbox.
A little bit. They're very litigious. So
I'll tell you exactly.
Candid with you. I'm going to be very careful what I say. I don't have time for lawsuits, but go ahead.
Understand, and I don't either. But I think it's important for people to understand from people that you're in the stock arena, and I've been in this business for 3.5 years, almost 4, which is a very long time. I know a lot of people, and I just do not want to see people taken advantage of, and they are getting taken advantage of, and not only in the stock sector, but also in the consulting section. You really need to do your due diligence on stocks and consulting companies. Just because they have a pretty website that takes you to some grow of who knows where it is, those pictures are probably purchased and everything
the stock
else.
Pictures, I've seen that before.
Stock pictures.
That's one of the things I was going to warn people about in another stock. But yeah, you're right.
There's stock pictures. And listen, my new website's coming out, and I bought a lot of stock pictures because that's what you do. But my stock pictures are pretty darn close to what my actual laboratory is going to look like and such. And hopefully I can get some professional pictures taken. But here's what I know about MedBox. I've got a call about a year and a half ago because the second place I wanted to open up a lab was in Arizona. And Arizona.
Yeah, they're active in Arizona.
That's where they pretty much started, I think.
Right.
Because my, dad and stepmom live there. Well, somebody said, hey, there's a doctor. He's getting all these people in a group, and they're going to apply for so many dispensary licenses. Because in Arizona, you just apply for one license, just like in Massachusetts. So, whereas in Colorado, you have a grow license, you have a dispensary license, you have an edible license, you have a lab license. So anyway, I heard that this doctor has, proprietary vending, blah, blah, blah. And the first time I heard vending, I told the person I was talking to, I said, and I started laughing. And they're like, and mind you, Arizona hadn't been opened up. Nothing had except really California and Colorado and some in Washington. And some in Oregon. But anyway, and they said, why are you laughing? And I said, listen, if there's one thing I've learned in this industry, people love to smell and look and touch. I said, I can't even imagine people would buy out of a vending machine, at least not for years to come. And they're like, really? And I said, absolutely. I said, there are some people that go to the dispensary every day or every couple of days. They don't buy ounces. They buy a little bit and come a lot because they like to talk to the person. They like to see new products. It is nothing like a liquor store or buying cigarettes at a convenience store. I mean, it's completely different. And, it would be like going to a winery and buying wine out of a vending machine because there's so many varietals and that kind of thing. And that's how cannabis is. We have cannabis connoisseurs, and I think that for the right place, it could work down the line, but not right away. And the person said, really? And I said, yeah. And they said, that's interesting. Well, what happened was MedBox made people sign a year agreement. So they roped them in by the doing the licenses, basically, is what I can come up with. They roped them into a year contract. And now I'm finding everybody's dumped them. I've never even seen a MedBox. One time. Say that
again for all the people listening. You've never what?
I've never seen a MedBox.
Nobody has.
Wait a second. No, I see one right now.
I've heard that nobody's ever seen one of these things. I have a connection that went to that factory to look for themselves, the ones that supposedly makes the MedBox, and this person told me that they were told that there aren't any. So I found that to be odd. But
yeah. So here's what you're talking about. A fake company, really. I mean, they have a company, but I've asked people in California, where have you guys seen a MedBox? They're like, what's MedBox?
Yeah. This is a good question, Jennifer.
Yeah.
You could be a stock stock analyst doing your due diligence. No. Where's a MedBox?
I'm already
Waldo.
You need to, and listen, you need to call people and ask them, hey, have you seen this? Hey, do you know where that grow is? Hey, do you know these people? There are plenty of people that have been in this game for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, okay? And you need to find these people and ask them. And people are very forthcoming with information. They are, especially when it is fraudulent. And we're going to have to take a break, and we'll come back. Hang on, Alan.
Okay.
Thanks.
Extraction Tech Solutions. Not only is it safe, but it offers one of the only ETL certified essential oil extraction systems on the market. Our equipment meets or exceeds all of the North American safety standards. Customer relationships are important to us, so after the sale, it doesn't stop for us. We are reliable and therefore when our customer needs us. We offer pre- and post-sales training, method development, services, and repairs. Extraction Tech, safe and reliable because it matters. Contact us at www.extractiontech.com or 720-515-9254. Cannapunch is a delicious and effective medical marijuana beverage proudly made right here in Colorado. Each bottle is freshly infused with 100% pure flower extract from the highest grade marijuana plants available today. Using proprietary extraction methods, every bottle of Cannapunch is consistently and reliably infused with an exact milligram dosage that you can count on to relieve your symptoms each and every time. Cannapunch is delicious. There's never any medicine-y taste. We use only 100% cannabis flowers. No trim or byproducts are ever used in Cannapunch. It does not require refrigeration and comes in convenient, resealable multi-dose bottles from 60 milligrams to 200 milligrams. We have drinks with dosage that works best for you. Cannapunch is available in a variety of delicious flavors like black cherry, watermelon, pineapple mango, and blue raspberry. And we now have strain-specific beverages available just for you. Cannapunch is delicious, convenient, consistent, and effective. Give it a try and experience the Cannapunch difference. Indispensary in Colorado Springs is proud to support Overgrow the Radio. With 2 locations in Colorado Springs, Indispensary invites you to discover what true selection and values feel like. Always featuring an incredible array of Stanley Brothers medicine as well as full line of edible and infused products. Indispensary is open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week, 364 days a year. You owe it to your health and well-being to discover Indispensary. Westside location at 3044 West Colorado and Eastside location at 3031 East Platte in Colorado Springs. Indispensary is your destination for indispensable quality medicine.
National Cannabis Industry Association would like to thank its members who represent the leading professional businesses in America's emerging legal cannabis market. NCIA is the only organization that has unified legitimate cannabis business across the nation to fight for real reform in Washington, D.C. For more information or to make your business a member, visit us online at thecannabisindustry.org.
All right, Alan, you still there?
I am.
Okay. So
We were talking about MedBox. And,
MedBox.
I think you bring up a good point about, what is the real business? And, I'm more the analyst type, but I try to find out some of those questions that you were just asking. Where's the MedBox? But, I look at the numbers, and this is a funky capital structure. The way it works, there's common shares. I think there's about 15 million roughly off the top of my head. I think it was 14 million. I'll talk about that more in a second.
Okay.
But then there's 3 million preferred shares that can be converted into these common shares at a rate of 5-to-1. So it gets you up to almost 30 million. And this was really one of the stocks that attracted a lot of attention earlier this year, late last year. I was just looking to see what that day was, but there was one day where the stock traded as high as, I think, 200. It really captured a lot of attention. I'm on there
right now.
It was, I think it was in November. I have to check. Hold on a second.
November this year?
It was November 12th of last year, so exactly, almost exactly a year ago. And that day, it traded as low as, according to my data, as low as $4.75, as high as $215. I'm sorry, that was a week. In that week, it traded as low as $4.75 and as high as $215. My daily chart doesn't go back enough. I should have had this, but the point is, people see that like, wow, that company was worth so much. But the problem with the stock, this is just technical, is that almost all the stock was held closely, and still is for the most part, by insiders. So there's not a lot of stock out there. So you get this supply-demand problem. And so people see that, and then they think, wow, at 50 it's a real bargain. And the founder there, Vince, he catches a lot of criticism. Some of it probably deserved. There's been reports about his past, things like that. But I'll never forget, this guy did one thing that was really cool, and I will always credit him for this, which was during that time he warned investors that the stock was overpriced. So I will
Really?
give him credit for being a good guy in that regard. And the point is the stock had this like super aura about it because it used to be $200, and it was just briefly, and it wasn't a big transaction. It was more of like the reverse of a flash crash, and so all year the stock's been going down, and the current price is around 20. And what I want to share with investors is all year they've been selling stock. It's called restricted stock at $5 a share. So the public has to pay $20 or $30, whatever it's been, but they've been willing to sell to certain individuals. Now, you want to be one of these other individuals. To be one, it's called accredited, and that means I think your family income has to be $300,000 a year or more, or you have to have $1 million in liquid assets. I think that's the rule, but the term is accredited investor, and so I always find it interesting when the price is that wide between where the company's willing to sell and what the public has to pay. So that's kind of a red flag too, by the way. And so there's another one of those situations going on now too, where the stock was at $25 the other day, and they announced they're going to sell 10 million shares at $1. So that's something people need to be aware of. Why do you want to pay $25 for something that's being offered at $1?
I can't imagine. Yeah, it's 1870. What does it mean when it says market cap?
So that's see, what does it say your market cap is, and then I'll tell you.
It says 283.94.
That's actually about right. I'm sorry, you said 200 and something?
283.94.
Yeah. So the market cap, I think the right way, or the more conservative way, I should say, is to convert any type of security. Like imagine a company was going to go buy this company, then the person that holds those preferred shares would want to get paid. So
sure.
The way I do it is I convert them. So you take those 3 million, you multiply by 5, that's 15 million, and you add it to the 14 million. Your number that you're giving me, market cap is literally the number of shares times the price. So that's what you're coming up with.
Whoa.
But really, the company's worth twice as much.
It's actually on. Yeah, it's actually on the Google Finance. Yeah,
a lot of these sites don't convert those preferreds. And
okay.
So there's one example. It's a company in Colorado. It's called Fusion Farm.
Yeah, Fusion Farm. I know those guys.
Scott Dittman.
Yes.
So, all right. Well,
and they are
Scott
legit.
Give me a call. He doesn't return my calls.
I will tell him. He's a good friend of mine, and I've seen. Listen, I wish, and I know a lot of growers here wish they would have went that way. And it is a.
You're talking about the farm pod.
Yeah, it's basically a portable farm pod, and I'll tell you how many people have lost millions of dollars building up an inside grow, and then the landlord goes, "Sorry, see ya," or they got a federal letter, and that they just wasted all that money. So I would.
Plus, if you have any sort of contamination or outbreak,
absolutely. No, it's phenomenal.
I'm not talking about his product, but I just, as an example, his stock at FSPM, if you look up the market cap, it'll say like 3 million or 2 million. You can go ahead and look it up and confirm this. Mm-hmm. But investors should be aware that he owns a preferred stock that would, if you would converted it, it would run that market cap way up. So it's way off. He owns like 97% of the stock through this convertible preferred, it's called, Genifer. So that's just another one of those little tricks. I don't want to say these companies do it to mislead, because that's not necessarily true. That would be a way to do it, but I'm not saying that just because they do that, it's done to cause harm.
Okay, let's see what they say. Let's see if the market cap is on this one. This is set up differently, and of course, I don't know what I'm looking at. But
FSPM, Frank, Sam, Paul, Mary.
Right. No, I'm on another.
Oh, you didn't do it in Google? You went somewhere else?
No, I don't know what I did. But really quick, so back to MedBox.
Yep.
So, yeah. So how does a company never sell a MedBox? And maybe there are MedBoxes out there. Okay, I don't know. But again, I've never seen one. And I know a lot of people throughout the country, and they've never seen them. So I'm just wondering where. So investors just went to their website and was like, this is a cool idea, and just gives money, right? I mean, because if they would have done any
just
checking,
buy the stock if they wanted to. I would suggest reading through the financials. You'll see negative cash flow. You'll see, if you read, so on that OTC markets, this is a pink sheet, by the way, MedBox. And if you go to, although I think they're in the process of trying to file with the SEC. They have what's called an S1.
Really?
So they're trying to offer their stock at between $16 and $20 is what the most recent filing said. The founder and also the CEO are trying to sell 50,000 shares, and then a lot of these people that bought the stock for $5 are trying to sell their stock. So that's
why are they selling their stock?
Yeah, I don't know. Good question.
Yeah,
but
just checking.
Well, the people that paid $5, I guess it's 20 minus 5 is why they're trying to sell it. But everybody's trying to make money. But the what you'll find if you go to OTCmarkets.com or if you go to SECGov.com, because they're doing this S1, and then you look at their most recent filing, what you'll find is that they tried to do 3 acquisitions this year. They closed one. It was called Vaporfection. But there were 2 that ended in lawsuits. I mean, so anybody investigating a company has got to wonder why you go out and announce these acquisitions and then they fail to close and they end up in lawsuits. I mean, that right there is another red flag. So I try to find these.
What are we talking about there?
What are we talking about? Just that for whatever reason they were trying to buy companies.
Or is that MedBox?
Backed out, or it says that either they didn't do a good job of investigating, or the other companies decided they didn't want to be married.
And was that for MedBox though, right?
Yeah, with MedBox.
Interesting. What are those companies?
Ended in lawsuits.
Wow. Okay, so that just shows you that, that tells me that they got with MedBox and decided that they didn't want to be associated with them. That's what that sounds like to me.
I think that's definitely was the case for one of them. I'm not sure about the others.
What companies are these? Where can I find that?
So if you, I'll look it up right now while we're talking, and I'll tell you. Hold on.
Okay, that's great. So, okay, and then when we finish with MedBox, so I guess my point is for people that are listening, that, we could have, or Alan, if you guys have any questions, can help you decide if, there's, a good stock or not. I mean, but I guess there's people out there that maybe they did due diligence with MedBox and they just didn't see it. I mean, I don't know. I just think probably.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I don't mean to be arrogant, but I just think, unfortunately, when it comes to individual investors, a lot of people don't necessarily go the full distance. They either don't know how or they don't want to. I don't know all the reasons, but I mean, obviously I've chosen this for a profession. I know it's not so simple. I mean, a lot of people don't cut their grass. Everybody can cut their grass, but a lot of people choose not to. And I guess when it comes to investing, a lot of people decide to just turn it over to somebody else and let them do it. So obviously, a lot of the people involved in these stocks, they don't do that. They're doing it themselves. And so I don't know. I run into this all the time, Jennifer, where people just aren't really doing the right research. And it could just be, they hear something from a buddy, it sounds good, or maybe they look at the chart, it's going up, it must be good. There's a whole litany of things that can lead somebody to make a decision that turns out not to have been a good one.
Right.
I'm looking up this MedBox thing.
Okay, so, let's go back to Fusion Farm. So Fusion Farm, I'm going to have Scott Bittman on with his business partner, Billy, and we can talk more about Fusion Farm. But I know that they're legit, and I've known Scott for several years now.
Right. No, I've heard really good things about the company, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but I believe they Grow Life, Rob and Sterling are distributing their farm pods on the East Coast.
Oh, they are. I think they are.
I believe that's the case.
And another thing to learn is farm pods just aren't for marijuana either. They're
Right, it's for organic produce.
It's for organic produce, and they are awesome. I would love to see some of these, like in the inner cities maybe. You know, if you're in a warehouse district, get a farm pod, you know?
Right.
Anyway.
Well, so now you're seeing, Jennifer, how this can happen. People listening are like, wow, this farm pod sounds really good, but maybe they didn't hear what I said about the number of shares. Maybe the stock's overvalued. So even if nobody's doing anything wrong or anything, it's just,
right.
You know, the stock may not be a good investment. It may or may not be. We don't know.
Well, I think people should invest in farm pods. Definitely. But we need to
farm
take
pods, but not necessarily Fusion Farms.
I'm sorry. Go. Well, no, Fusion, well, I don't know. I don't know anything about it, but I do know that farm pods are amazing. So, but anyway, we need to take a break, Alan. We'll be right back.
Okay, and I'll have that info.
Okay, cool.
Independent Records and Videos has been your locally owned and operated choice for music, movies, and lifestyle accessories since 1978. Independent Records and Videos has 7 locations from Denver to Colorado Springs to Pueblo to serve your entertainment needs. Whether it's vinyl, CDs, DVDs, books, smoking accessories, or hundreds of other fun and fanciful items, Independent is ready and waiting to make your dreams come true. We are always buying, selling, and trading vinyl, CDs, books, and DVDs, so sell yours and buy ours. Independent Records and Videos, your entertainment headquarters. Check us out at beindependent.com or on Facebook.
iVita Wellness is committed to compassionate patient care while providing the highest quality medicine at an affordable price. At iVita Wellness, patients can get top shelf ounces for $150 every day. iVita Wellness also carries pharmaceutical grade pure CO2 oil. iVita Wellness is located in Uptown Denver on 1616 Pearl Street, open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can reach us at 303-952-9150 or our website at www.ivitawellness.com. iVita Wellness is Denver's Compassionate Care Center.
This segment was brought to you by The Farm, a medical marijuana care center located at 2801 Iris Street in Boulder. The Farm carries premium cannabis, edibles, and Hummingbird brand products. Visit our new cannabis lifestyle store for your local artesian glass, vaporizers, and hemp clothing. The Farm has been serving Boulder since 2009. Isn't it time you come and see what we have to offer?
Green Faith Ministry is for spiritual guidance, MMJ information, and networking combined with compassionate care on the way to enlightenment with all Green Faith sacraments. Green Faith provides charity assistance, including medical and food throughout the year. Contact them at greenfaithministry.com.
Okay.
I found that information, Jennifer.
Okay, where's it at?
So I told you that they have done announced three acquisitions, and one of them did close. That's called Vaporfection.
Vaporfection?
Right. I can tell you because I'm on the page. Vaporfection has 2 flagship products, a handheld portable device called the MyVape, and then they also have something called the ViVape 2. That's not handheld, and they call it more robust. And I actually heard from the founder the other day because I wrote an article, and he disagreed with my take on that acquisition, and he told me that it's really it's very related to what they do because they're already inside the dispensary, and the dispensaries are the ones.
Who's inside a dispensary?
Medbox.
Where?
Through the consulting arrangement. Through the consulting.
Oh.
So,
yeah, but most of those people got rid of that.
So, well, and that's another thing. I heard from an Arizona dispensary myself who's involved with litigation with the company that the company doesn't disclose. I mean, I saw it. He sent me the litigation. So the company is very, very litigious, a lot of litigation. But so these two, I'll just tell you, one was called Biotech Medical Software, and this deal was entered into on February 26th. And then on June 26th, that company canceled the agreement.
Okay, so biotech or BioTrack?
Biotech Medical Software.
Biotech.
So this is just in their filings. I'm just reading this. So February 26th, they agreed to do the deal. By June 26th, this other company that they were going to buy says no. And so the filing says, we are currently in negotiations to separate. So, all right, so that one didn't work. And for whatever reason, I'm not trying to, there's a lot of bad reasons. I don't know a good one. But and then the other one's called MedVend, and that one was entered into on March 12th. And
okay, so I know Biotech Medical Software is BioTrack. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yes, biotech medical software through its BioTrack THC division. And
There you
I
go.
did hear about this, and BioTrack is another seed to sale software competing with MJ Freeway. And I met those guys in Seattle, and actually we're going to be, so Can Labs builds APIs so we can plug into anything, whether that's a third-party CRM or a seed to sale or a state software system. Can Labs will plug into it, and we already plug into Weed Maps and MJ Freeway, and we will be plugging into BioTrack. So
But you can ask them.
I can
they'll
tell
give
you
the
right
skinny.
now. I will definitely ask them. And okay, and what's the third company?
The third one was MedVend, MED capital VEND, and then that one broke up. This one's pretty long. There's a lot of suing back and forth. But, so the point though is, any company that announces 3 transactions and 2 of them end up in litigation, something's wrong. That's not right. That's not the way it's supposed to be.
That should be a huge red flag.
Exactly.
A huge red flag. So,
there's a lot of them there. Anybody listening should just make sure they do their research. That's it. So there's a lot of red flags with a lot of these companies, quite frankly. Even the ones I like, Jennifer, there's some issues.
Sure.
They're penny stocks. That's at the end of the day, if you're a penny stock, you're going to have some issues.
What is 714 California? I think it is.
I don't know.
Because it looks like MedVend is a collective, and it looks like it might be in California, but it could be
That
another.
sounds right. 714 sounds like Irvine or something.
That's what I thought, yeah. It looks like that's the only... Wait. Oh, hold on a second. Well, it looks like there's another MedVend.
In Anaheim. That's where it is.
Okay.
That area.
Then it looks like there's another MedVend CO in Wisconsin.
I doubt that's it.
But yeah, I really doubt that's it. Yeah. Interesting. So yeah, if there's a little red flag like that. So let's talk about okay, so then there's another one. What is that one? Where can I go somewhere to see a list of them?
I can email you a list.
Or I can, should I type in marijuana stocks maybe? Marijuana stocks? Maybe?
You might find something that way.
Marijuana.
What's the company do, or what does it start with?
Here it is. Okay. No, I got one now. Wow, there are that many?
Well, I'm tracking, I think 18 of them that are worth 10 million or more, and probably another 10 or so behind that. And some of the ones that I'm tracking, I don't really consider. I don't think you would consider truly marijuana companies. An example would be, we set up a subsidiary and we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Well, what are you doing? Not what are you going to do. And
okay, so I have a list. I have a list right now. Let's start with Canavest.
So Canavest, that's owned by MJNA, which you were talking about earlier, Medical Marijuana Inc. And that, well, I say owned by, that's not really the right nomenclature. I'm sorry. It was spun out of.
Oh, so it's on its own now?
Yeah, so that deal was done they post-dated it. From what I've been able to tell, they put it together late in the fourth quarter. They announced it, I believe, in February, post-dated it to close as of December 31st. And so what they did was they transferred intellectual property and inventory and other assets, to this company. I can tell you all about it, but the company now is a supplier of CBD. And so I know you're aware of this.
Oh, this is the hemp paste.
Yes.
Okay,
so I know you're aware of that. But that's the company, that's what they do.
They're completely separate from MJNA now.
Well, so at this moment, MJNA owns, at the end of the year, there'll be one more payment that's due. My guess is it will be in shares. And so when it's all said and done, MJNA will own about a little over 6 million shares of that company.
Okay, but they spun out, meaning they want to do their own thing.
Yeah, but they're very related because Canavest makes products.
So why would you split off,
No
I
way
guess?
to sell them. MJ&A sells them for them.
Then why would they split off from MJ&A?
Well, if you were to listen to the company, it was to save MJ&A shareholders $10 million a year.
What?
In operating costs. That's what you can read the press release.
Is
that's
that
what
true?
they said.
Does that make sense?
Was it true at the time? It might have been, but if you look at the numbers now, no, it's not true because the production volumes have been way below what would have been expected.
Okay, and I know that there's some, I would love, and I probably will call, I think Canavest includes RHSO or RSH.
That is their flagship product.
Okay,
That's correct.
So I'd like to call
Real
them.
scientific hemp oil.
Yeah, I'd like to have them send me a free sample so I can test it for everything because I was heavily under the impression that they bought this hemp paste from China. And they are claiming that it has never been purchased from China.
Well, I think they don't disclose exactly where the hemp is grown. And,
but they don't.
But
they say it's not
the difference
China.
may be where it's processed as opposed to grown. That may be one of the little nuances to that discussion. But I don't know. I mean, if you read what they said, it just said it's not grown in China.
Right, but that makes a huge difference where it's grown because of this is the problem, the regulation. I know that there are barely any regulations in China. I know they use a lot of pesticides.
Right. Well, I believe them. It's probably not grown in China. They said that, and I think that's probably the case. But
well, then why wouldn't they tell us where it's grown?
They never have. I don't think it's proprietary.
Okay.
Isn't that a nice word you can use?
I know, I love it. Well, that didn't work for my company. I always said proprietary, and then they said right. But I just want to know. I think it's only right that they disclose, where it's made, what it's screened for, and everything.
But really, at the end of the day, don't you just want to test it and make sure it's okay? I mean, isn't that really the important thing?
Yes, it is. But unfortunately, a lot of this is not getting tested, and it's getting to consumers, and most of those consumers are kids.
You're talking about an RSHO, and that RSHO is used. Like I know a guy in Colorado who buys the RSHO for now, and then he takes it
and makes a product out of it.
He makes a tincture out of it.
Right, and I understand that, and that's what that's how this company got started, is because instead of growing CBD, let's just buy it. Right. And
they wanted to be a merchant supplier. I mean, and the good thing for Canavest. At the beginning of the year, they had one customer. It was MJ&A or Red Dice Holdings, and they just had that Dixie product line. And to their credit, they do appear now to have more customers. This one that I can identify by name, but I'm familiar with a few others as well. So
well, right, but at the end of the day, I guess what I'm trying to have a hard time with is if you're MJ&A. Okay, and you have a company underneath you that makes a few products. Why would you then get another company to make those same products to compete with the other company? I'm just asking.
You're talking about the Dixie and the...
I didn't say anything. I was just suggesting two products.
I think what happened there, this is just my speculation, and I think that the relationship between, and I know you probably know these people, and obviously you know Tamara very well. So that deal that got Dixie together with MJ&A was done in, I think, May of 2012, and I just think the world changed a little bit, and for whatever reason, maybe personality conflict. I don't know all the issues.
Right.
I could guess, but I think that something happened along the way where the relationship started to sour. And, there is this court case right now where Canavest is suing a subsidiary of MJ&A and Dixie, both Dixie and the subsidiary in which Dixie invests and MJ&A owns 60%. And if you read the court document, it appears that Dixie hasn't been paying for the raw material since like September of 2012. So there's definitely some issues. That's just a court complaint, so that doesn't mean that that's true. So, but the point is I think if I had to guess what happened, I think that the CBD thing was front and center, and it wasn't happening for whatever reason. Dixie wasn't moving very fast on it, and I'll give you an example. You couldn't get Dixie outside of the United States. It wasn't until this summer that they finally, for the first time, I believe, signed an agreement with a internet retailer to be able to ship it out of the United States. So there were just a lot of things where Dixie just wasn't moving very fast. So to answer your question, why did MJNA do this? I think they had to. They had no choice, would be my guess. But I've never spoken to Tripp before, so I don't want to accuse him of being the one that messed things up or make accusations.
No, and I don't either.
Anybody did anything, but that's just the way it looks to me.
Right.
That for whatever reason, maybe Tripp talks a lot about how well things are going with the THC side of his business. So maybe that distracted him. I don't know.
They are doing very well, and they are going to do even better when it's recreational. And I know they have reached out to other states as well. So, I have no doubt that they're going to do amazing with the THC product lines. I just was curious when Canavest comes out with, a couple of products that look right out.
Copycats.
They
I
look
know. It was direct competition.
Yeah, they're exactly direct competition with Dixie, and I thought that was completely poor taste of them. And there's a million products out there, so it just was confusing to me. And I don't know. It just seemed kind of interesting to me, but I really would like to get, if anybody out there has a packaged syringe of the hemp oil RHSO that they would like to ship, I'll take care of shipping and I'll pay for a full range of tests. But I would like to test that, and I haven't been able to, and I tried to get some at Seattle, but they had already ran out. So I've never talked to any of them. I don't know their companies, nothing like that. So I have nothing to say there. But I do know that it's good that we're talking about some of these things, and I always am welcome to have people, certain people come on the air to talk about it, because and here's my biggest problem with it. Okay. My biggest problem is there are parents out there that are crumbling because they have little kids with horrible, horrible diseases, seizures, cancer, and they are looking for anything to help them. And all we've been putting out now is CBD this and CBD that, instead of cannabis with higher ratios of certain cannabinoids. We're talking about
in some
CBD.
States you can't even do that, right?
So,
but CBD,
I understand
that. Surface is a great solution if it's the right solution.
Well, understood, but it's the whole plant medicine that I believe is going to be the front runner here. So I
hear that argument, but if you're in Texas and you're suffering from all this stuff, you can't get that. There's no way to get
I understand that. And
I'm trying to get her to go to California to go get treated, because I hear juicing is working for a lot of people for lupus. You can't do that here.
Well, I understand that. So you have a couple of choices. You can move to Colorado or to another legal state, like many families have done. But I understand that they're desperate, so they're going out and looking at everything. So then we have these products that all of a sudden come up from who I have no idea, and people are buying them, and they're getting robbed from them. I'll tell you what.
Why do you say they're getting robbed?
$80 a gram is a lot, especially for a family that has a very sick kid.
You're saying just the price is high.
Yeah. The price is ridiculously high. And I know we have some of the best genetics, the best medicine in Colorado, and nobody I know sells even the highest CBD oil for $80 a gram. Even a 20 to 1 ratio.
Would be good. it's more like 150, but
well, yeah,
for a gram of CBD, not just oil, but of pure CBD. But.
So to give people an idea, grams sell for about $40 up to $60. Okay, and they're charging double, if not more, with none of the other cannabinoids in it.
Right. Well,
yeah.
I mean, I guess the way I look at it is, you're importing the stuff from overseas, processing it, and all that. I would imagine that has to play a role as well.
Right. So why not? Why not? If you're in California, why not grow it?
Right. Well, a lot of people.
I mean, if it costs that much,
find a dispensary that'll do it for you. That's the answer.
Right. It is the answer.
If you're in California, sure.
No,
I mean, there's a dispensary in California that's offering CBD pills, I think.
But again, I don't. CBD by itself, I don't know if it's going to do the same. That's why I don't like to call it CBD. I like to call it.
It has some THC in it also. I'm saying I think it's from the whole plant. Is the point I'm making?
Right. So that's what I wanted to. I mean, it's
I'm
about
sure you're
the whole
familiar
plant.
with Martin Lee and Project CBD.
Of course.
And,
absolutely.
And that's his whole argument that he's been making for a long time, that you need other things besides just CBD.
You do. And that's why I don't like to call it CBD medicine, because it's still cannabis medicine. And I just don't want people to look at THC like the black sheep. You know what I mean? Like, it has its parts and it plays and it's lock and key and, it's the whole symphony. But I don't know why I got on a rant about that.
Well,
but
hopefully we'll get more research. I mean, it's been very restrictive. People can't do the right research, but, I feel like things have changed. And, to actually, instead of just guessing, to actually do the research and find out the answer to those questions is going to be very refreshing.
Okay. And then, you know what? I just looked at the clock and we're 10 minutes late. What I want to do is I will have you on again, maybe if we can in December, because we still have, Altitude, BG Medical Technologies, Cannabis Science, Creative Edge, Index, Green Grow, Hemp Inc. Wow. All of these. All of these that I've never seen.
I'll save you some time. Hemp Inc. is the highest rated scam in my universe.
Hemp Inc. HEMP.
Yeah.
Who is it?
That's Bruce Perlowin's company. He's the one that founded MJ&A, and then he founded Hemp 2 years later. He was a drug smuggler in the 70s and spent time in prison and has this company. A very interesting guy, but the company's, you don't want to spend too much time talking about that.
Oh, my God. Well, no, that just helped me because I don't know about it. So we are
going to... It's a good name, right? Hemp sounds
Yes, it does.
Like
yes.
Hemp is great.
See? And that's another thing. People think, oh, I want to give my money to hemp. No, don't. Okay, well, we will have you on again, Alan. You are so great, and thank you so much for coming on and sharing.
I have a code for anybody that wants to check out our service.
Please.
Too.
No, go ahead and give yourself a little plug, please.
Sure. It's just a little one because I'll make it very simple. If you go to 420investor.com, you can join for a week for just $4.20 if you use the code radio.
I think one of
the things that should come out is, it's not like I can give you 10 stocks you're going to double your money in the cannabis space. It's just not where we are right now.
No.
But I've really been helping a lot of people avoid huge losses, which has unfortunately been a lot of what's been going on this year. And the first place you should click on is the reviews, and I think that's a great place to start. Some great reviews. We got very happy subscribers, and we're all kind of in a learning process now, kind of like what you're doing with your audience today, and just trying to understand the lay of the land and to get in the right position for when the right companies come along, and they are coming.
That is awesome, Alan. Listen, we're launching our new website. I would love for you to send me a logo and a little blurb on your 420 Investor, and I'll get it on there because at least people can go to Can Labs and find you to really get some help in this. And listen, $36 a month is nothing to help you invest money in companies because you probably already wasted that with MedBox stock.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks again, and I will talk to you before the end of the year.
All right, Alan. Thanks so much, and take care.
All right. You too.
Bye. Oh, am I still on? Okay, so I just wanted to say thank you to all my listeners, and it's my birthday next Monday, so we'll be playing a repeat show, but I hope everybody has a wonderful week, and we'll be back the next week with Dixie Elixir. Take care.